April's National Donate a Life Month, a time where we encourage Americans to register as organ, eye, and tissue donors. Joining us now to talk more about that is Jim Ginder. He's our health education specialist at the Hamilton County Health Department and a tissue recipient himself. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Tammy.
Tell us about the donation that gave you a second chance at life.
Sure. So when I was born, I was actually born with a heart murmur. And as I was growing up, my pediatricians and my family practice doctor kept watching it. And there was a time where they said, you know what, maybe it's time that we send you over to the cardiologist. So Hamilton Heart is my cardiologist here in Noblesville. And Dr. Schultz, I was 28 and I went in for my yearly echo. And he's like, you know what? I really think that we need to move on to the next step because your valve is getting worse and your heart is getting bigger. So Dr. Schultz hooked me up with a surgeon at IU Methodist. And December 2nd, 2020, I was actually dead, if you want to call it, for 4 hours. I was on a heart-lung machine for 4 hours. They sawed my chest open and popped out the old aortic valve. And I was very fortunate to receive a valve from a 15-year-old male in Florida. So December 1st of 2021, it'll be 21 years that I've had a new valve.
Remarkable. You had a tissue donation. Tell us what the more common organs are to donate. Which ones are most needed?
Sure. That's a great question. So when you think about donation, there's actually two types of donation. There are organ donations, as you mentioned, and you also mentioned about tissue donations. So with organ donations, those organs would be your heart, your lung, your intestines as well too. For our tissue, that would be things like your corneas, bone marrow. That can also be heart valves as well too. That can also be blood, and as I mentioned, skin as well too as a tissue. So basically, one person, if they choose to be a donor, can actually save 8 people's lives from donation as well.
Wow. We've heard a lot lately about COVID and some patients requiring lung transplants during
Correct,
all of
right.
this. So have
So
we seen an increase at all this year in the need for donors?
correct, and that's a great question. So we know that COVID scars the lungs pretty significantly, and we know that there was an individual here in Hamilton County who needed double lung transplant because of that. And there's also been some national news of other people needing a double lung transplant as well too. So in the future, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows if we're going to start to see more and more lung transplants? Is it going to be a single transplant, or does it need to be a double transplant for lungs as well too?
And it sounds like we don't need to wait to pass away in order to donate, that you can still do this while you're living?
Correct. So there are some things that we can donate. So we have two types of donors. We have a living donor and a deceased donor. So a deceased donor, these individuals can donate organs if they're on life support. So if the heart is still beating and they're on a ventilator and their organs are still functioning, they can donate the majority of their organs. If the person is considered biological dead, which means their heart is stopped, so there's no blood flow or no oxygen, those individuals can only donate tissues. So for living donors, those people are still alive and they can donate things like blood. They can donate half of their liver as well too. So those individuals can donate as well too.
So how do I register? If I
That's a
want to
great
donate, how do I
Yep,
sign up?
that's a great question. So there's multiple different ways to be an organ donor. You can go to the license branch, and we've all probably, when we've got our license renewed or when we first got our license, we were asked, "Do you want to be a donor?" That's number one. Or you can go to the organ donation website as well too to do that. Or like a great example for blood, you really don't need to register to be a blood donor. You just need to call the blood bank that's close to you and set up an appointment, or go to a mobile blood donation site, and they'll be more than happy to take your blood because we're seeing a lot of individuals with COVID needing some blood as well. And like a great example with mine, before I had surgery, because my heart was so large, I was not able to pre-donate my own blood for myself. So they had to have blood on standby in case I needed it. So luckily, I didn't lose that much blood and I did not need blood. So that's something else we need to think about. And with spring coming up, and a lot of people are more active and a lot of more traumas occur, a lot of people that have been injured or have been taken to trauma center may need that blood as well too.
Fantastic. April, National Donate a Life Month. Please consider signing up to be an
Please.
organ, eye, or tissue donor. Thanks,
It,
Jim.
of course, someone saved my life because they were a tissue donor, so something I cherish forever.